Hi everybody, how are you? It's Mike Andrew once again providing a short video with practical insights as it applies to business and leadership. I just recently posted a video where I talked about personal development, our own personal development, where I believe that the biggest value or the biggest impact on development is not going out taking a course, crossing your fingers and hope it leads to improved performance and results. It generally doesn't work that way. What I believe is that 90% of our development should be day-to-day, working hard to achieve results. That leads to development. When you work hard, achieve results, that's how you develop, not the other way around. The other 9 or 10% I would say is if you've got a good manager who observes what you're doing and gives good observational feedback. Very effective, very powerful. But I want to take development to a broader scale, a larger scale, from a corporate level perspective. You know, many large companies, they can afford having their own learning and development organizations or corporate universities or corporate academies. If done right, it could add great value, and I want to show you how. It starts first with whatever your learning and development or your corporate academy does, it must be in the business and strategic context of your company to address broad-scale issues. How do you do that? One, start first, I call it context level number one. Look at everything external. What type of business are you in? What type of industry are you in? How are things changing, evolving? What are the market trends? What are the customer trends? What are the competitive threats? What are the technological trends and global implications and so forth? Then you look at context number two. How does that translate then to the company direction, the mission, the goals, the strategy? Having a clear understanding of the mission, goals, and strategy. Context number three, based on what we just talked about, getting a good strategic view of the company, how does that translate to those two or three or four company-wide capabilities that we must excel at? We must be second to none in order to give us that competitive advantage. That's where corporate university or learning and development can focus their value and impact by addressing those 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 core company-wide capabilities to excel at. That's the value. Also, some companies will put a lot of their leaders through assessments. And when they look at summarize all of the assessments, they may find 1 or 2 capabilities where they have the larger gaps. Well, a learning and development or corporate academy can address those gaps. So it's having good impact value to the business. Let me give you some examples. I did a lot of work with McKinsey over the years. McKinsey drives home the McKinsey way of problem solving, and they drive home the McKinsey way of building trusted relationships with their clients. Very effective. I worked for one company where I ran the Leadership Institute where we took the vision and the 5 strategic initiatives supporting that vision, and everything we put the executives through was related to that strategic context. Not only were they all on board learning the same message and building capability to ensure that those initiatives were implemented, but they were strengthening their internal network as well. I call it the know-who, not just know-how, but know-who. I did some work with a very well-known private mutual company, financial services insurance company. And for about 120 years, they were private mutual company. And they were transitioning to become a public demutualized company. Imagine that, big transition. So we put the top 600 executives through a program in that context to make sure that they clearly understood, they were all on board, ready to go, move forward quickly in a public demutualized environment after a 130-year history of being a private mutual company. And what were the specific implications that they needed to focus on as leaders, the top 600? That's context, that's a strategic context, and that's the value of that company's corporate academy. I'm very well aware of a corporate academy today that, based on the company strategy, which is made clear to everybody, what are the digital capabilities, what are the leadership capabilities that we have to excel at in order to realize our strategy, which has been made very clear. So we want to make sure everyone's on board with the strategy, the digital capabilities, the leadership capabilities, so we can drive that forward. That's value, and that's impact. I have other stories, examples like that, but I want to keep the video a little bit short. So from a larger scale, corporate university, corporate academy, that's how they can add value, and that's how they can achieve impact. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.